Well, hello, LinkedIn people. This is going to be my first LinkedIn Live, and I have a very important topic to be talking to you about. And I want pharmacy owners to understand the impact of inflation in their pharmacies. So essentially what inflation is, it's the increased cost of goods and services. And so if your pharmacy buys anything, which of course you do, your vials, your labels, your paper, everything from electricity to employee cost, as costs rise, your profits erode. That's kind of logical, right? If you have more expenses, you have less profit. But I really want to put into hardcore, real, actual numbers for pharmacy owners of what the current inflation is doing to your pharmacy profits. And I'm going to tell you, it's a shocker. You are losing right now, about half of your profits are being eroded by higher inflation. So I'm going to walk you through the numbers here and just stick with me for a little bit because I think this is really critical for pharmacy owners. And when I actually did the math, I had a scary moment of realization, and I think you might too. So I just think this is really critical. So a typical pharmacy has about 22% gross margin. Yes, there's many pharmacies that are more profitable than that, and there's many pharmacies that are less profitable than that. But I look at a lot of pharmacy owners' financials, and I would say the typical pharmacy runs at a profit margin of 22%. Now, your expenses, the percentage of revenue that is your expenses, most pharmacies are around 19%. Certainly lower is better for that KPI, but let's just go with what kind of average is, and that's 19%. That means 3%, the difference between 22 and 19, is your profit as a pharmacy owner. So that means for every dollar that you make in revenue, you get to keep 3 cents as profit, right? And that's how most of us make a living in pharmacy. Yes, some of us are able to get the gross margin higher. Some of us are able to operate at lower expenses, but that is the run rate for an average pharmacy. So let's factor in inflation now. So if your costs are increasing by about 8%, we know some things have increased actually much more than 8%. Some things are less than 8%, but all of the news and economic people say that inflation has been going at around 8%. So all of a sudden your 19% expense ratio gets increased to 20.5, and that's just because of the increase of 8%. And so now what you're looking at is, instead of a profit percentage of 3%, you have a profit percentage much less than that, which is 1.5%. Half of it, half of your profit is gone due to the increased cost of your pharmacy. And if inflation hasn't hit you yet, it will be. I don't know the last time you ordered labels or you ordered vials or you went and bought paper, but costs are increasing everywhere. And unfortunately, in pharmacy, the majority of our revenue flows through PBMs, insurances, for those of you that don't know what a PBM is, and they don't increase the reimbursements just because inflation has gone up. Somehow they still justify lowering reimbursements most of the time. And so we have fixed revenue, but our costs are increasing. And that means our profits are getting squeezed even more. So if that doesn't give you the tingles of being scared, I don't know what will. I know it was a real even eye-opener to me, and I love the numbers and diving into the numbers. But this is a catalyst, I think, for pharmacy owners. You have to start doing something different. You must be doing something different in your pharmacy to start taking better control of your revenue and growing the types of revenues that you have control over, and controlling your expenses as well. I actually just did a wonderful podcast with Carter Musgraves, a fellow pharmacy owner, talking about how he has changed his credit card processor and how it landed in his pharmacy, which it landed very well. He didn't lose half his patients or anything, with giving the patients the option of how they pay. And if they're going to use a credit card, they pay for the transaction fee. You've got to start doing business differently. That means growing revenue streams outside of the control of the PBM. That's something that I love talking about, whether that's workers' compensation, cash-based revenue, clinical revenue. There are so many options right now for pharmacies, but you cannot keep doing business in the normal way that you've been doing it with all of this inflation. So if you take that average pharmacy that we talked about with a 22% margin and a 19% expense ratio, half of it is going to be gone with an 8% inflation rate. And so what are you doing? I mean this. What are you doing? What are your plans to change in your pharmacy? Do you know what to focus on? Do you know what can make the biggest impact for you? If you don't, that is why we have the Pharmacy Profit Summit in August. That's why I put out all kinds of great content and write blogs and send emails each week. I am trying to help you understand maybe some directions that you can go. Unfortunately, there is no one magic bullet for every pharmacy. Every pharmacy is different, different location, different demographics, different passions from the pharmacy owner. And so there's not just one program. But I will tell you, and I firmly believe, that there is a strategy out there that is the perfect fit for you. We just need to find it and get it implemented for you. So if you need help, feel free to reach out to me. I highly encourage you to purchase a ticket to the Pharmacy Profit Summit. It's coming up in just a little over 2 months. We are going to be diving into, there's a total of 2 days plus an extra bonus day that's focusing on just functional and clinical medicine. So you can purchase the 2-day ticket and you can opt in or opt out of that extra day. But I highly recommend, we are going to be showcasing experts and other pharmacy owners for all the good things that they have implemented in right now, give you all of those shortcuts to help you improve your pharmacy. What I don't want you to do is to not be aware of how inflation is impacting your profits and to be surprised in a couple of months when the bank account is extremely low and maybe you can't pay your wholesaler bill or you can't meet payroll or something tragic like that. So now is the time to take action to combat against these inflation rates. So I hope this has been informative to you. Again, if you have any questions or you need help in your pharmacy, please reach out. That is what I am here for. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I hope this gave you some insight into your pharmacy and how to make it better. So bye for now.